Okay, so now we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Today we are going to talk about Maggāmaggañāṇadassanavisuddhi. So Maggāmagga, here the two Pali words, Magga and Amagga, path and non-path. Jnana means knowledge, Dassana means vision, Visuddhi means purification. After practicing or after discerning all types of mentalities and materialities and their causes, now we have to proceed contemplating that as anicca dukkha anatta. This is also called samasana jnana. That's how we call the knowledge of contemplation. The by way of contemplations, by groove, we call kalapa samasana, which is also called inductive insight, naya vipassana. Okay, we have two different explanations here, kalapa samasana. Another one is naya vipassana. Actually, although we have different names, they are the same. But different scholar use different name. We can just say it comes from the scholar. Then one more thing, buying groove. Actually, when we say kalapa, we can also like generally, we can understand all the nama overall. And we can also understand all the rupa overall. After that, we can contemplate that as anicca dukkha anatta. This is also called kalapa samasana. Okay, one more thing here we have to elaborate. Without knowing all the mentalities and materialities in detail, we cannot summarize. Actually, if we say kalapa, that means summarizing all the namas and all the rupas. Because the nature of changing, then we can know this is a rupa. We call ropana. Ropana means changing or decaying. So because of the nature of knowing, this is called nama. Because of the nature of inclination, namana nama in Pali. All the mentalities are called nama. So after understanding all the mentalities in detail, we can summarize. We can discern them overall. Then we can contemplate that as anicca dukkha anatta. This is called kalapa samasana. This is also called naya vipassana. Then the meditator must contemplate mentalities and materialities as impermanent, suffering, non-self. So this is the first part we can know what is it really called. Okay, we have already talked about 3 types of understanding. We can also say 3 types of full understandings. If we make groove, that means we have already talked about 7 purifications. Among 7, we are talking about number 6. Maggāmaggañāṇadassanavisuddhi. So in the 6, this is 5, sorry. We're talking about the 5th purification. So, number 1, Nyata Prinya, full understanding as the know. This purifications of view, purifications of overcoming doubt. According to insight knowledges, Nyata Prinya will cover the knowledge of discerning mentalities and materialities we call Nama Rupa Vavatana or Nama Rupa Brigaha. The purification of overcoming doubt, this is also called the knowledge of cause apprehension. We can know the causes of mentalities and materialities by this purification. So Nyata Prinya will cover these 2 purifications. Nyata Prinya also cover 2 insight knowledges. Discerning, the knowledge of discerning mentalities and materialities, or defining mentalities or materialities. Then We also call Paccaparikkhañāna the knowledge of cause apprehending, apprehending causes. So it will cover these two knowledge and these two purifications. Then Tirana Pariññā, full understanding as investigation. So this purification will cover purifications of knowledge and vision, path and non-path. So now we are going to talk about Samassana-ñāna, the knowledge of contemplation. Actually, Tirana Pariññā will cover two inside knowledges. We can also say 1.5 knowledges. The first one is the Samassana-ñāna, the knowledge of contemplation, is very clear already. The second part is the knowledge of rising and perishing. We can also say tender knowledge of rising and perishing. So later it will become very mature. It will be the third part, Dhyana Pariññā, full understanding as abandoning, then the remaining purifications. So these are called 3 types of full understanding. So it will cover all 7 purifications. It also cover all types of inside knowledges. So these are a summary of full understanding. Although we say simply 3 types of full understanding, it will be very wide. We can make one group, the 3 group of 7 purification. We can also make 3 groups of inside knowledges, according to these 3 full understandings. Okay, anyway, now we are going to talk about the first part, abandoning, right? Step by steps. So abandoning means if we practice step by steps, we can also abandon step by steps. So according to Buddha's teaching, I don't know how many times I have already talked about it. We have the aura of discourse or the aura of teaching. In Pali, we call it Desanekama. So whenever the Buddha gives the Dhamma talk, he used this method mostly. Now we also have Patipatikama, the aura of practice. I have already mentioned this is 7 purification. We must practice step by step. Now we also have the aura of abandoning. So now we are going to talk about the aura of abandoning. Actually, it depends on our practice. In different practice, there will be different abandonment. For example, when we can in the first jhana, we can overcome or we can abandon hindrances. When we can take the second jhana, we can abandon initial application, such as implication, vidaka vichara, and so forth. There is systematic abandonment as we are improving. Okay, now 1. By reflecting on impermanence, one abandons the perceptions of permanent. So that means if we can practice or if we can contemplate Namarupa as impermanent, then we can abandon the perceptions of permanent. So there will be the next part, we have to explain many other things. Okay, now 2. By reflecting on suffering, one abandons the perceptions of pleasure. If we know the materiality as suffering, we can abandon the perceptions of pleasure, of pleasant. By 3, by reflecting on non-self, one abandons the perceptions of self. If we know all the mentality as non-self, we can give up the view of ego or self or soul or everlasting entity. The 4, by developing disenchantment, one abandons the light. That means Nibbida-ñāna. So then when we have disenchant, after discerning all the materiality as arising and perishing, especially when we after discerning only perishing states, then we will abandon delight in Namarubats and formations and also many other categories, for example, like a 5-gauge, trapezius, and many different things. Okay, this means disenchantment is one of the inside knowledge. When we have this kind of inside knowledge, we can abandon the delight in Namarupats, aggregate, and so forth. Now we have 5. By reflecting on disaffection, one abandons attachment. Okay, here we talk about viraga. We also translate as disaffection. One abandons attachment. So that means we may have any attachment to Namarupas or 5-gauge or any other formations. 6. By reflecting on cessation, one abandons arising. So here we can say like a nirodha. It can be temporary cessation. It also can be complete cessation. Kana nirodha, we can say upara nirodha or anupara nirodha. So if we know the cessations of mentalities and materialities, then our mind will abandon the arising stage. 7. By relinquishing grasping, one abandons clinging. This one is very clear already. If we are grasping, we cannot abandon clinging. So we call patinisaka, relinquishment. This is also important. Sometimes we cannot give up. We cannot relinquish the grasping. We grasp something. We cannot release. So when we get relinquished grasping, then we also abandon clinging. These are abandoning step by steps. That means as we practice, we can abandon step by steps. Actually, there are many other things we should know in this practice. So in every single practice, that we must abandon something. In every single improvement, we can abandon something naturally. Whether we wish or we don't wish, it will happen naturally. So in the case of Vipassana, okay, today we just talk about Vipassana. So there are many different types of abandonment as we are practicing naturally, systematically. Okay, now we should elaborate a little bit more about Kalapa Samazana, contemplate by groove. Now, contemplating by grooves. I have already mentioned grooves mean general. For example, after discerning all types of materialities, we just understand as a rupana. Rupana means changing, the nature of changing. It can be changed by mind, temperature, food. We can also understand it can be changed by heat and cold, hungry and thirsty, happy and sorrow. Or after knowing all the materialities, we can understand as a rupana, the nature of changing. Then this is also one groove. This is also called Kalapa Samasana. After that, we can contemplate as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay, now here, I think this one is very common in Buddha's teaching. Whatever materialities there may be, whether past, future, or present, we can understand 3 periods: internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near. Altogether, we have 11 categories. All materialities should be regarded as impermanent. This is a one contemplation. Actually, although we say one contemplation, it can be many other different contemplation in this part. For example, all the past materialities is anicca. All the future materialities are also anicca. All the present materialities are also anicca. Similarly, all the internal materiality are also anicca. All the external materials are also anicca. All the gross materiality that we can also contemplate one by one. We can also contemplate as a group. This is the way we have to contemplate when we are practicing vipassana. So dukkha, anatta should be the same. The remaining aggregates are also the same. Okay, here I just summarize. So we can also do the same. Whatever materialities there may be, whether past, future, or present, internal or external. The same, previous one, previous page. Right? No. Okay. Inferior and superior, far or near, all materials should be regarded as dukkha, regarded as anatta. So similarly, we can also do whatever feeling, whatever perception, whatever formation, whatever consciousness there may be, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all the consciousness should be regarded as impermanent, suffering, non-self. 2. All mundane dhammas should be contemplated as impermanent, suffering, non-self. So that means 3 contemplations. So here I have already mentioned 3 mundane dhammas. Sorry, all mundane dhammas. If we say all mundane dhammas, it can be our daily life. Sometimes we may have unwholesome mind, unwholesome thoughts, unwholesome activities, unwholesome speech. This can be agosala mental process. Sometimes we are doing well, doing good things, speaking good things. We have right thoughts. At that time, we may have wholesome minds as ordinary people. Not only that, when we can attain jhana, all the jhana dhammas also can be contemplated as anicca dukkha anatta. We may have immaterial jhana. Also, we can also contemplate that as anicca dukkha anatta. So this is the dhamma we should contemplate as anicca dukkha anatta. This is also called kalapa sammasana, making groove by groove. Okay, now again, we have number 3. In the number 3, you also mention whatever materialities, whether past, present, future, is understood as impermanent due to its nature or horizon. Okay, I just mentioned present, past, future, right? Only 3 periods. In reality, we can also divide into 3 different groups. For example, the materiality in the past is understood as impermanent. The materiality in the future is understood as impermanent. The materiality in the present is understood as impermanent. This is 3 types of periods. Now we can also say 3 contemplations as impermanent due to its nature of arising and passing away. So that means if arise and perish, this is the nature of arise and perish, we say this is impermanent. Of course, it's very clear, right? It's not permanent, that's why it rise and perish. If it's permanent, it cannot perish. It will remain forever. Then again, as suffering, that means the materiality, whether past, future, or present, is understood as suffering due to its potential for fear and danger. Here we just say in Pali, dukkham bhayatena. Bhaya means fear or danger. So actually, if we know the momentary rise and apparition is really fearful. Okay, we will give one example. Whatever cups made of clay, right? Then fall down from the tree, from something, the high place. Whatever falling down, it will crash. Then it's not no more desirable, right? So that means dukkha means no more desirable. It's potential for fear and danger. Then again, materiality, whether past, future, or present, is lack of essence. Okay, one more thing here. If we say lack of essence, that means we must understand a little bit more in detail about it. We have already mentioned many things about associated mentalities and materialities. Okay, in the case of materiality, we're going to say associate. We're going to say sambayutta, right? But they will arise together. We call samuha gana, synthesis components. So if we can break down the synthesis components, we can know is a lack of essence. They are arising as a group, arising as a group, no everlasting entity. We can understand as anatta. So similarly, we can also understand, okay, number 4 here. Materiality, whether past, future, or present, is impermanent. The conditions dependent on causes, subject to rising and passing away, fading away, and cessation. Okay, here again, conditions dependent on causes. This is the 4th type of contemplation. So all the materiality will arise, produced by some causes or supported by some causes. But we must know their causes. Okay, in this 4th contemplation, we must know ultimate reality and their causes. Okay, here we just say materiality. It also can be feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness. So they are causes. Then they are always rising and perishing. The causes are also rising and perishing. Then the effects, materiality, are also rising and perishing. That we can know as anicca, dukkha, anatta again. Actually, in this case, we must discern the dependent origination as anicca, dukkha, anatta, their causes and mentality. Okay, we can also say another way, materialities and mentalities together with their causes. We must understand them as anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is also one of the contemplation. Okay, now the last one, 5th, on the last one, 5th. Because of birth, there is aging and death. Without birth, there will not be aging and death. This is also one contemplation. That means all dependent origination factors should be understood the same. Because this is the last part of dependent origination, birth and aging. Before birth, we can also like bhava paccaya jati. That bhava can be kama bhava. Then before bhava, we have upadana, vana paccaya bhava. Before upadana, we have tanha paccaya upadana. So that means we can also contemplate all the dependent origination factors as anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is the way we can say kalapa samasana. Okay, when we say kalapa samasana, contemplating by group, it looks simple, but when we are really practicing, it's not that much simple. There are many different steps, many different ways of practice, many different grouping. According to different grouping, we have to practice different ways. This is called kalapa samasana. Okay, this is also called naya vipassana. Okay, there are some saying naya vipassana is a call in, mostly they use this kind of usage in Sri Lanka, Asian culture. The kalapa samasana is a little bit easier because it's more common. Anyway, so we can use 5 different ways of contemplating for kalapa samasana. This is it, the first part of samasana jnana, the knowledge of contemplation. Okay, we can move to the next part. How can we understand present, past, and future? Actually, we have already talked about it many times, but today we have to talk again because it will be very important for contemplation. Sometimes in some tradition, they say you must discern present moment. Sometimes even some scholars they say be present. What's really called present according to practicing, especially in Vipassana? We have many different types of present, past, future. What Samaya was saying now, by way of time, materiality that arises in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Okay, we should understand three different periods. The materiality that arises in the morning will perish in the morning, it will not come to even afternoon. All the materiality that arises in the afternoon will perish there. It will not come to evening. So similarly, the materiality that arises in the evening will not come to the next morning, or maybe to the night, right? So we can also make 3 periods of night. For example, the first watch of the night, the second watch of the night, the last watch of the night. As we divide 3 periods in daytime, we can also divide into 3 periods in 3 periods at night. Then we can also understand the same. For example, the materiality that arises in the first watch of the night will not go to the second watch of the night. Okay, you can understand the same, right? This is just an example. Here I just talk about materiality. Similarly, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. All of the aggregate will be the same. So when we are practicing Vipassana, we must practice 5 aggregates one by one. We must practice 5 aggregates overall, then all together. Again, something I will say now. Oh, maybe go previous one, maybe you use one, the previous one. Yeah, Atta was say now, sure, right? Atta was say now, by way of duration, present life, past life, and future life. This is one, right? So that means present life is also called present. Past life can be past. Future life can be future. This is present but future. This is very clear already. So present life means from rebirth to death. We can also say birth moment to death moment. This is called present life. In the past life also it should be the same, from birth moment to death moment. In the future also, birth moment to death moment. This is called Atta. Sanity was saying now, by way of continuity. So that means the materiality produced by similar temperature, nutrients, and mind in the same mental process. Okay, one more thing, right? So they will arise and perish there. They will not continue in the next mental process. This is the way we have to understand. So in Kammaja materiality, there's no such specific producing cause. So it's produced by past karma. Anyway, when we talk about sanity, that means momentary rising, and this means like a mental process. Okay, in the case of mentality. So here I just talk about mentalities. Sorry, materialities, right? In the case of mentality, also it should be the same. Because in every single mental process, there's a mind moment. So yeah, when we talk about sanity, we must understand mental process. So all the mentalities, they arise in the one mental process, will never move to another mental process. They will perish there. This is called sanity vasena. Okay, now the next one, where we mentioned number 3, kana vasena. Right, the last one, number 4, kana vasena. By way of moment, arises status, aberration state of mentalities is present, and so on. Okay, now we are going to talk about present moment. So whenever we talk about present moment, we call kana. Be careful, right? When we say present moment, that means arising stage, status stage, aberration state of mentalities and materialities. So here I just talk about mentalities. Actually, it also can be materiality. Right? So in every materiality, there is also arising stage, status stage, and aberration stage. So we have to understand 3 moments of every mentalities and materialities. This is also called present, past, future. For example, now we are listening. We may have ear mental process. According to previous one, we say sanity was saying it will be ear mental process. But there is also sounds. This is a rupa. There's also ear translucency. This is a rupa. Present ear translucency will hear or will be imaged by present sounds. Then there will be mental process, ear mental process. This is also called present moment. So in every single mind moment, we can know the arising stage, status stage, and aberration stage. This is called Kanavasena. So whenever we talk about present, past, future, we have to understand these 4 conditions or 4 types of present, past, future. This is for foundations of Vipassana. Actually, you also mentioned when you think about internal, external is 2 whites. Okay, practically in our body, this internal. Also our body, external. And there are many internal externals. Okay, now we have to move another one about summary or another Lakkhana Sutta. Okay, I have to introduce you why I choose another Lakkhana Sutta. Because there are many similar suttas. Whenever we talk about anicca, dukkha, anatta, or whenever we talk about present, past, future, we cannot ignore another Lakkhana Sutta. This is the second discourse to 5 bhikkhus. Also, this is very much in detail about 5 brigades. That's why I choose this sutta. Actually, it mentions many different things in Pali. Okay, now here I should say very simple things according to statement here. The materiality bhikkhus is not self. If bhikkhus, materiality were self, then this materiality, right? This materiality will not lead to affliction. That means, we can say suffering, right? Then one cannot have it be of the nature. Let my materiality be thus. Let my materiality not be thus. But because our materiality is not self, it leads to affliction. And one cannot have it be of the nature. Let my materiality be thus. Let my materiality not be thus. Okay, the main thing is, this is out of our control. We call anatta. That's why we will not follow our wish. For example, I don't wish to get this kind of materiality, we will not follow. I just wish to get this kind of materiality, it will not follow. Whether you like or you dislike, you must accept. Whether we like or dislike, we must accept it. It's not under our control. It will arise by its nature. That's why the Buddha said it's anatta, non-self. Okay, the remaining aggregates are also the same. So you can also understand that feeling is also not under our control. Okay, practically, whether you like or you dislike, suddenly you get angry, right? So even I myself, okay, I should say my example, right? I don't want you to get angry. Like if somebody disturbs me, I have to get angry. It's not under my control. Similarly, I don't want to feel sorry. But so there are some conditions I had already made. I feel sorry for it. Whether I wish or I don't wish, it will happen. It's not under our control. But one more thing here, if we train ourselves, we may have less suffering, less hatred, very limited sorrow. It comes from our practice also. It doesn't mean we can control it by our practice, right? By the power of practice, it will reduce by itself naturally. So the Buddha also said, right, whether you wish to make it fade away or not, it will fade away naturally if you are practicing. Okay. Similarly, feeling, perceptions, formation, consciousness. They are not under our control. They will arise and perish, right? It's own nature. Although we wish to be this, to be that, they will not follow our wish. This is the first part of Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. Okay, now we have the second part of it. I think everybody knows this one. We call 𝐷𝐵𝐴 Okay, this page, right? You can understand this is called 𝐷𝐵𝐴. The Buddha asks, they go answer. We can find similar statement in many parts of suttas. Especially, we can find many things like that in Samyutta Nikaya. Most of them can be found in Samyutta Nikaya. Okay, we may also have some parts in Majjhima Nikaya, or the Anguttara Nikaya, or many other Nikaya. We also find, even in Abhidhamma, like Vibhanga, we can find this kind of statements. Okay, the main thing here, bhikkhus, is materiality permanent or impermanent? Impermanent but not reversal. Okay, in this context, the Buddha asks to 5 bhikkhus, is materiality permanent or impermanent? They say impermanent but not reversal. So as the answer are impermanent, that means they have already known as impermanent. Without knowing that, they will not answer like this. That means their inside knowledge is powerful, not like ordinary people. Now, is what is impermanent, suffering or happiness? Then suffering but not reversal. This is also very clear, right? So they understand suffering. Actually, the next time we have to talk about different the definitions of anicca dukkha anatta. So today we will not talk about anicca dukkha anatta too much. Okay, now then, is it fitting to regard what is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change as this is the mind, this is the I, this is the myself? Okay, the first one. This is a mind. This is a loba, etamama. Right? Then this is a I. Is how must mean. This is a mana, pride. This is the mind self. This is ditthi, wrong view. So although we say very simply, this is the mind, etamama. This is the greed, loba. So when we have attachment, we can say this is the mind. This body is the mind. Sometimes we may have mana, pride. We call embodied asmi mana. He also mentioned is soha masmi. We call asmi mana. So when we have mana, we can this is the I. This is the mind self. This is very clear already, because if we say self, soul, or ego, or everlasting entity, this is the wrong view already, right? That's why it's a ditthi. Also, we can understand 3 different types of defilements: loba, ditthi, and mana. So these 3 can prolong samsara. By contemplating anicca dukkha anatta, we can overcome these 3. Later, we have to introduce all these types of practice in rupa saddaka and arupa saddaka. especially Arupa Sataka. Okay, the main thing is, if we have understood all the Namarupa as anicca, dukkha, anatta, then we can overcome greed, pride, and wrong view. Then here the answer, no Benedavasa. So in many sutta, the Buddha have the same questions, similar questions, and people also have similar answers. You can have the same statement in many different sutta in Samudana Nikaya. Again, the remaining aggregates are also the same. So here I just give one example, because it's materiality, right? Similarly, we can also say feeling, perception, formation, consciousness, permanent or impermanent. It will be similar question, similar answer. We can find the same question and the same answer for all the 5 aggregates. So this is it. I have already said this is a summary of Anatta-lakkhana Sutta, right? That's why I will not elaborate too much in detail. Okay, now the next part of Anatta-lakkhana Sutta. So we can also find there are 4 bhikkhus. Whatever materiality, rupa, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near. All materialities should be seen with right understanding as it truly is. Thus, it's not mine, it's not I, this is not myself. So this is what we can learn in Anatta-lakkhana Sutta. I have already mentioned this is not mine. Right? This is no lobha. If we know it's a suffering, no lobha. Right? Then this is not I. If we know it's impermanence, sure, if we know that means we will not have mana. Okay, we may be proud of our education, our knowledge, our position. And we may be proud of beauty, wealth, success, many things, right? If we know it's impermanent, we will not be proud of it. So we also need the perceptions of impermanent to overcome mana. This is not myself. If we understand as anatta, non-self, we will not have this kind of mind. This is the myself. So this is also, we can find these things in Anatta-lakkhana Sutta. Although it's mentioned, this is not mine, not I, not myself, but in reality, we must understand as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Right? Here mentioned with right understanding as it truly is. Thus, this is not mine, not I, this is not myself. All the things come from anicca, dukkha, anatta. So in this sutta, we can understand, in this context, we can understand the 5 bhikkhus are present 5 aggregate methods. Mostly, many people understand namarupas. They say namarupas. The way they analyze namarupa is also very simple. Body is a rupa, mind is a nama. They don't it. So even the 5 bhikkhus, although they have very strong parami, they have to practice 5 aggregate methods, not namarupa methods. So then for ordinary people, then at least we should try 5 aggregate methods. It should be deeper than that also. There can be more analysis later. Okay, the remaining aggregates are also the same. So here I just mentioned about material aggregates, similarly, feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, formation aggregates, consciousness aggregates, whether past, present, past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, or feeling, perception, formation, consciousness should be understood or should be seen with right understanding as it's truly, right? It's like it's not mine, it's not I, this is not myself. So that means we should contemplate all five one by one. Rupa khana anicca dukkha anatta, vedana khana also anicca dukkha anatta, sanya khana also anicca dukkha anatta, sankhara khana also anatta, vijnana khana also anicca dukkha anatta. So we have to do one by one. As I have mentioned before, we can also summarize, we can also overall all five we get together. So before overall discernment, we can also practice one by one. Without practicing one by one, it's not that easy to summarize. Okay, now we may have the next part about Nadalakana Sutta. Seeing thus, bhikkhus, then well-learned noble disciples became disenchanted with materiality, disenchanted with feeling, disenchanted with perception, disenchanted with mental formation, and disenchanted with consciousness. This is a five brigades one by one. Being disenchanted, he becomes dispassionate. So we can say viraga. Actually, we already talked about all this stuff before when we talk about pahana, abandonment. Let's talk about actually abandonment, right? Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. We call vimutti. When it's liberated, there comes the knowledge. It's liberated, he understands. So that means if our mind is liberated from defilements, namarupas, private, we understand. The path is destroyed. That means no more rebirth. The holy life has been lit. That means we live in our holy life usefully, truthfully, effectively. What had to be done has been done. Okay, that means there are three trainings we have to be done. We have done all three trainings. That means we have already practiced three trainings successfully, completely. There's no more to be practiced. So that means there's no extra thing to do. Oh, maybe I have to practice this one. There's some remaining things to experience or to be liberated. Right? They may not have that kind of extra practice. So this is the summary of Nadalakana Sutta. Okay, if we summarize Nadalakana Sutta, we can also find different contemplation. In the very beginning, we have already mentioned 11 categories, 5 brigades. And later I will say a little bit more in detail how many contemplations in Samasana, especially about 5 brigades. Okay, now we may go the next steps about the object of contemplation. So here we just summarize all the things, but it will be a little bit long explanation for today. Dwara Ramana is setting, Dwara Pavada Dhamma, all ultimate realities together with their respective doors and objects. Since you have basic knowledge about Buddha's teaching, you may have already know what are dwaras, doors, and aramana objects. So there are many mentalities. There are many mentalities. Then taking the color as object, they will arise. Similarly, sounds, smell, taste, touch, and Dhamma objects. It will arise in their respective doors. Then we have to know all types of mentalities and mentalities in different sense doors. Now, we must contemplate that as anicca dukkha anatta. So, briefly, okay, what we say in Pāvadaya, right? We say 6 doors, all the rupas, all the namas. I think if somebody has already practiced vipassana in Pāvadaya, you may have already known 6 doors, root materialities. So when we are going to practice vipassana for the beginners, we recommend it. The most we recommend to practice 6 door rupas, one by one. For example, there are different types of materialities in the eyes, eye translucency. There will be 10 types of materialities that arise together with eye translucency. We call Chakudasaka Kalapas. We also have body translucency in the eyes. It will arise together with, right? All the body translucency will arise together with 10 types, or 9 types of materialities, or 10. We call the Sodataska Kalapas, the Kayataska Kalapas. Then there will be body, 6 materialities. It will arise together with different types of materiality, altogether 10. They are called Bhavataska Kalapas. Life faculties, we also life non-kalapas. Similarly, we also have Kama Broju, then 9 Broju materialities, temperature Broju materialities, nutriment Broju materiality in the eyes. So we have to design all types of materiality in the eyes. Then after that, we have to convert that as anicca dukkha anatta. If we do one by one, also okay. Then this is only eye doors. Similarly, ear doors, nose doors, tongue doors, body doors, and mind doors. So we can practice 6 doors one by one. This is the only materiality. Okay, it will be the same in the mentality. The 6 doors, there will be their respective mental process, respected object. We can practice everything as anicca dukkha anatta. This is the number 1. Number 2, Panchakhanda, 5 aggregates. Actually, it must be 5 clinging aggregates. Although it mentioned Panchakhanda, we must understand as 5 clinging aggregates. So we have already mentioned 5 clinging aggregates in Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. We have to do the same as mentioned in Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. 3, Cha Dwarani, 6 sense bases. Actually, I have already mentioned 6 sense bases. In iron base or iron doors, there are different materialities, different mental process, right? Similarly, 4, Cha Aramanani, 6 objects of the senses. Actually, this is also very clear already. According to the sense base, there will be different sense objects. 5, Cha Viññāṇāni, 6 types of consciousness. You have already known 6 doors. In the eyes, there will be eye consciousness, ear consciousness, in the nose consciousness, in the tongue consciousness, in the body consciousness. Then for other, like Dhamma objects, there will be many other, like we can say maybe Dhamma objects, right? We call mind consciousness. We call Mano Viññāṇa. So this is the example of aggregates. Example of consciousnesses. Actually, we have already learned different types of consciousness according to Namarupa discernment, especially for Namarupa discernment, right? So if we can do Namarupa discernment, it will be, if we can review Namarupa discernment, it will be easier to understand. Okay? Anyway, when we are going to talk about all the consciousness, then we must know different doors, different sense doors, and different consciousness. Okay, now again, 6. Cha Phassa, 6 contacts. So it depends on sense door. For example, eye contacts, produced by eye consciousness, Chakku Viññāṇa, right? Similarly, ear contact, nose contact, hands contact, body contact, mind contact. According to this contact, there will be different types of feeling again. We call cha vedana, 6 feelings. Then again, 8, cha sanya, 6 perception. So that means, okay. So that means if we have 6 perceptions, this also come from different types of, right? It also come from different types of contact, different types of feeling. There can be different types of perception. It also can be according to the sense doors. Now we have the next part about cha chetana, right? Chetana means 6 intention. So we may have many different intentions according to sense doors. Intention to see, intention to hear, and so forth. Actually, chetana also can be volition. 6 different types of volition. So if we have volition, it can be the karma. Okay, now again, 10, chatana, 6 craving. The attachment to, craving for specific object or color, craving for sounds, smell, taste, touch, and thought. This is called 6 types of craving. 11, cha vitaka, 6 initial thoughts. So actually it depends on sense objects. There will be 6 different types of thoughts. This is also very easier to understand. Then 12, cha vichara, 6 sustained thoughts. This is also according to sense doors, sense objects. Is easier to understand. Then 30, cha dhatuya, 6 elements. Okay, here. When we talk about 6 elements, it can be Chakku Dhatu, Sota Dhatu, Ghana Dhatu, Jinwa Dhatu, Kaya Dhatu. Right? Also, we can also say Dhamma Dhatu. Again, Chakku Vijnana Dhatu, Sota Vijnana Dhatu, and so forth. We can also do many other Dhatu, 6 elements. So there can be different 6. Internally and externally, we can also understand 2 different things, right? Then again, Dasa Kasinani. Right, this is a totally new subject for meditators. So that means if we have attained kasinas, jhanas, we can also practice the jhana dhamma as anicca dukkha anatta. Although we say jhana dhamma simply, actually, yeah, kasina jhana dhamma simply, there will be many other. For example, based on kasinas, we can also practice immaterial jhana. All the immaterial jhanas also can be this object of vipassana. We can also contemplate immaterial jhana and nama dhammas and rupa dhamma as anicca dukkha anatta. Brattinsa Kothasa, 32 body parts, or 32 parts of the body. Okay, this one is also one of the practice we have to understand. When we say 32 body parts, or 32 parts of the body, it must be only materiality. For example, head hair, this is also materiality. Body hair, this is also materiality. So according to the body parts, there will be different types of materialities. For example, newly eaten foods, we can say digestive foods or undigested foods. All of them will be only temperature produced materialities. Similarly, we have another body part, for example, tear. It can be temperature produced, it can be mind produced. For example, sometimes we feel sad, we cry, it passes into tear, right? Sometimes some of the insects or maybe some of the dust go into our eyes, tear come out. This is temperature produced, right? Sometimes because of very hot weather, tear come out. This is produced by temperature. Anyway, if we say briefly, different body parts, there will be different maturities. We must know all types of maturity in different body parts, respectively. This is called Pratinsakwatasa. In Paotoya, we also recommend 42 body parts. Then actually, I have already said many times about 42 body parts. If somebody asks, they also misunderstand. Only in Paotoya, they say 42 body parts. It doesn't mention 42 body parts in the Tipitaka, right? They also misunderstand. Actually, we also have 42 body parts in the Rahulavada Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. That is why we can also say briefly, 42 body parts are also important to practice. Then 16. Dwadasa Ironani, 12 sense bases. I have already talked about it before. It depends on multitask conditions. What I give different instructions. For example, fire aggregate, then 1 material aggregate, 4 mental aggregate. That means if they know Rupa very clearly, if they cannot discern Nama very clearly, what I will give fire aggregate method. What about Ayana method? Where Ayana method? Among the 12, most of them are material bases. Then 1/2 will be mental bases. So for those who can discern Nama very clearly, they have very strong confusions about Rupa, the what I will give Ayana method, 12-based method. Then again, 17, Atarasa Dhatuyo, 18 Dhatu, 18 elements method. Actually, in this case, both those who has very strong confusion about mentality and immateriality, the what I will give 18 elements method. Even Venerable Rahula has to practice Arana method, that means 12-based method. That means he has very strong confusion about Rupa. Again and again, 18. Bhavasri Niriyani, 22 faculties. This is also one method we have to practice. Okay, then we have to categorize all the 22 faculties. So these are the basic methods for practicing. Okay, a few more steps we have to continue. Tiso Dhatuyo again, 19. Tiso Dhatuyo, 3 elements. Okay, we already mentioned 6 elements, right? We also have already mentioned 80 elements. Now, what does it mean 3 elements again? Actually, in this case, we can say Kama Dhatu, material element, Rupa Dhatu, Kama Dhatu, sensual element, then Rupa Dhatu, material element, Arupa Dhatu, immaterial element. So it means we also have like sensual Dhamma, that means sensual sphere Dhamma. We also have like a fine material Dhamma. We also have like a immaterial Dhamma. We have to discern all types. Then Nava Bhava, 9 states of existences. Actually, we have already mentioned 9 types of existences in Divine origination, especially about Bhava. Right? Uparana Pachaya, Bhava. In this case, we have already explained many things, many types of Bhava. Then 21, Chattari Jhanani, 4 jhanas. This is very simple already, right? Then all the jhanas, we can enter jhana, imagine from jhana, we can descend jhana mentalities as an Nitya 22. Tataso apamanya, 4 immeasurables. So 4 immeasurables means we have metta meditation, karuna meditation, mudita meditation, upekha meditation. These are called 4 immeasurables. Then we also have to practice all the jhana as anicca dukkha anatta. Okay, now again, 23. Tataso samapattiyo, 4 attainments. Actually, we have different 4 attainments. 4 attainment means, for example, we have 4 material attainments. The first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana. Actually, we also have 4 immaterial attainments. Boundless space, boundless consciousness, nothingness jhana, neither perception nor non-perception. Actually, we have different 4 types of samapatti. Okay, now again, 24. Dwadasa Paticca Samuppada Angani, 12 links of divine origination. Now we also have to contemplate that as anicca dukkha anatta. So these are, you have already mentioned anything about object of contemplation of the 24, right? Too much. So I cannot elaborate all the 24, but I will elaborate some part of 24s. If something is a little bit like a new or something a little bit difficult to understand, I will elaborate that part. Not today. And today is almost time up. Maybe the next time. Okay. So now we will do the last part of today's talk. Okay, there are 165 ways of contemplating, cycling, and 𝐕𝐤𝐸. So here, we have 11 categories, right? 11 categories multiplied by 3, 55. Okay, one more thing. 11 categories, we already mentioned, present, past, future, right? Internal, external, altogether we have 11 categories. 5 𝐕𝐤𝐸s. For example, materiality in the past, materiality in the present, materiality in the future, internal material, external material, and so forth. Then, so 55 multiplied by 3 contemplation, altogether 165. These are called the object of contemplation. That means, altogether we may have 165 types of contemplation in Samasana Jnana for 5 aggregate methods. Okay, if we say 12 base methods, 80 elements methods, you can also imagine 12 types of bases multiplied by 11 categories. Then after that, multiplied by 3 contemplations. Similarly, 80 elements multiplied by 11 categories, then multiplied by 3 contemplations. It will be more, right? But sometimes people also say, we don't need to know past. Past already has gone. Past has already gone. We don't need to know past. Future not yet come. We don't need to know future. It must be present. Vipassana must be in the present moment. Right? If we say present moment, then we must ask, okay, can you calculate 165 ways of contemplation? So that means, okay, I will elaborate only a few part of 165, right? Too much, right? Okay, material 𝐕𝐤𝐸. Past material 𝐕𝐤𝐸 is also anicca, 1 contemplation. Past material 𝐕𝐤𝐸 also dukkha, 2 contemplation, right? Past material 𝐕𝐤𝐸 is also anatta, 3 contemplation. Past material 𝐕𝐤𝐸, anicca dukkha anatta, 3. Similarly, present material 𝐕𝐤𝐸, anicca 1 contemplation, dukkha 1 contemplation, anatta 1 contemplation. So altogether 3. Then similarly, material 𝐕𝐤𝐸 or the future as anicca, dukkha, anatta, three contemplation. Internal material aggregates as anicca, dukkha, anatta, three contemplation. External material aggregate as anicca, dukkha, anatta, three contemplation. In this way, we have to do all 11 categories one by one. 5 aggregates one by one. So altogether, we must practice 165 methods, 165 way of contemplation. So if we cannot, okay, so there will be some other arguments about anicca, dukkha, anatta. Do we need to know all anicca, dukkha, anatta? They have some question. Because there are some sutta in Samudana Nikaya, it mentions only one characteristics. Sometimes it just mentions only anicca. It doesn't mention dukkha, anatta. Sometimes it just mentions dukkha. It doesn't mention anicca and anatta. In some sutta, it just mentions anatta. It doesn't mention anicca and dukkha. Then people misunderstood. We don't need to know all three. If we know one is good enough, what I say, only one. In this sutta, that sutta, this sutta, that sutta, they may give many sort of references. Actually, all these discourses are according to listeners' condition. Some listeners, they have very strong perceptions of dukkha and anatta. But that means they can understand dukkha and anatta very clearly, but they cannot understand anicca very clearly. The Buddha will guide or suggested them to practice or to contemplate as anicca. Sometimes some listeners, their perception of dukkha is very strong. They can know dukkha very clearly, easily. They can also know, right? Sorry, so there are some listeners, they can know anicca easily, but they can also know anatta easily, but they cannot know dukkha very easily. The Buddha will guide him to practice dukkha. There are some meditators, they know anicca, dukkha easily, but they cannot know anatta easily. The Buddha will guide him to practice anatta more. So all these things are according to listeners' conditions. It doesn't mean we don't need to do three. We just need to do only one, right? They misunderstand. So in reality, for ordinary people like us, we must try all the ways, all the possibilities. Otherwise, we cannot improve. This is also important. Okay, today we have already talked about Samasana Jnana, the first part. How to contemplate and what to contemplate. What are the objects of Vipassana as the foundations, the first step. So what kind of things should we contemplate as anicca, dukkha, anatta? Okay, one more thing here. Here it doesn't mention body intimation, body intimations, or many other things. That means they are unreal rupa or unconcrete rupa. When we are practicing, when we are discerning mentality and materialities, we must do all the possibilities. Especially when we are discerning materialities, we must discern all types of materialities, whether concrete or unconcrete. But when we are going to contemplate that as anicca, dukkha, anatta, it must be concrete materialities. So we must be very careful about it. So these are for Samasana Jnana, the first part. Okay, today, actually, I also know this is a little bit heavy topic for all the listeners, because if I don't say 5 brigades or all the things also, maybe people may think it's very easy to practice Vipassana. If I say very heavy topic also, they scare, right? Anyway, we must learn first. After that, we must apply for our practice. So all our learning knowledge should be for our practice, right? This will be more beneficial, more effective. Sometimes we practice without learning. Then we will go wrong, we will go to the wrong path. We cannot experience what we expected. We cannot improve as we expected. That is why we can, if we are in the right path, right knowledge, right practice, we can expect improvement and achievement. So that means we must do the right things. We must know the right things. We must follow the right path. Then we can improve ourselves. We can also experience higher attainments naturally. But may you all be able to practice the 3 trainings, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation and not suffering.
Vandami Sayadaw, what is the difference between grasping and clinging? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, this is the English words, right? If we say grasping or clinging, actually, this is also the same upadana. In Pali, we can say upadana is the same, right? Okay, next one.
Okay, the next question. If a person becomes disenchanted with materiality and mentality, if he commits suicide because of this disenchantment, can we say that the person has practiced wrongly in some way or gone extreme? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, this is 2 different things, right? 2 different things means committed suicide. Actually, they may have disenchantment with the body, not namarupas, right? So, for example, in the case of the fourth Parajika, the Buddha talk about asubha. That means they hate their body. They have a lot of discussion with their body, right? And they commit suicide. So this disenchantment will be a little bit different. This is disenchantment with mentality and materiality. Then this is just for right practice. We cannot say this is extreme or something. For our committing suicide, it will be another angles, not concerned with namarupas or vipassana. Okay.
Vandami Sayadaw, when I practice Buddha Sanusati, I mentally recite that Buddha is far and free from all defilements and habitual tendencies, so he is worthy of the highest veneration. Then I recite Araham and focus on the quality of worthiness. I focus on the fact that the Buddha is worthy of the highest veneration, homage, and praise. If I recollect Araham like this while doing my daily activities, I feel happy and I want to pay homage to the Buddha when I feel inspired by the quality. When I pay homage to the Buddha 3 times, I want to pay homage again. I also pay homage in my mind by mentally reciting Namo Tassa. I can endure bodily pain more easily. I also want to become a Buddha. Is this a sign of improvement? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, if you can feel happy, also if you can overcome pain, that means when you have very strong rupture and tranquility, then you have improvement. Okay, there will be a few more steps to improve more, right? Okay, next one.
My mind still wanders and I still feel sleepy. This is the second part, Sayadaw. My mind still wanders and I still feel sleepy in a sitting meditation session where I switch to Anapana after practicing Buddha Nusati. I can focus on the breath naturally and easily, but then I feel sleepy. Should I just keep practicing Buddha Nusati all the time, or should I switch to Anapanasati after focusing on the qualities of Buddha for a while? I usually meditate for 20 minutes on weekdays, but on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I could try to meditate for 2 to 3 hours because I have more free time. Is this good enough? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, when we talk about sleepy, right, it depends on your mind power. Sometimes when your mind become very weak, or when your body become very weak or very tired, you may feel drowsy. This is the normal, right? So if you can practice a little bit more, with a little bit more efforts, you can overcome drowsiness. If necessary, you can also open your eyes to overcome drowsiness. This is also okay. And for about the practice and time, 20 minutes, and we take this also okay, not really big problem. So now 2 to 3 hours, okay, for maintenance, this is good enough, okay? Okay, one more thing. You can also practice Anapanasati, right? Okay, now another one, okay?
Yes, Sayadaw. So, Sayadaw, the question here is, Vanami Sayadaw, so during the Q&A for the last week's Nama talk, Sayadaw mentioned that when seeing to check the 5 jhana factors, so we had to see the nimitta in the bhavanga. But however, according to Abhidhamma, that bhavanga chitta is outside of the fundamental process. And so what perform the function of seeing nimitta in the Bhavanga? And when none of the six sense consciousness are arise at that time, can Sayadaw explain that? I mean, yes.
You misunderstand Bhavanga Citta and Bhavanga Mind, right? Two different things. Bhavanga Citta is a mentality. Bhavanga Mind is a materiality. Okay, we have okay, you may have already known some part of Venerable Sariputta's experience. He did some jhana dhamma, right? At the time he mentioned what to aramana parikaha. Sorry? Okay, so what to aramana parikaha, right? What to meet the base. Aramana means the object. So after that, he also discern nama dhamma. Here in this case, what is a heart base, heart materiality? It's not Bhavanga Citta. Be careful, right? So nimitta is the object of jhana. That's why we have to do this one. Okay? Because you misunderstand Bhavanga Citta and Bhavanga Mind. Okay, next one.
Vanami Sayadaw, when a meditator contemplates anicca, dukkha, anatta, or naparupa, if these basana objects become not clear, meditator can only feel like energy only and not clearly namarupa. Should he still proceed with the contemplation, or how he should continue with his practice? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so one more thing, right? Everybody like very pleasant feeling. Sometimes whatever practice, when you have very pleasant feeling, your mind will follow pleasant feeling too much, and your mind will become blur. You cannot know all the namarupa very clearly. This is a really bad habit. Okay, so without clear discernment, you should not do anicca dukkha anatta. Sometimes because of habitual practice, you may do anicca dukkha anatta. It will be exception. Right? So when you have this kind of experiences, you must make it. You must make namarupas clearer, and the arising and aberration clearer. After that, you can also continue anicca dukkha anatta. Okay.
Vandali Sayadaw, during Patisandhi moment, Kamaja Rupa, the Kamaja Rupa of Patisandhi, is it caused by the Maranasana Javana? Would there be tears out of happiness? The second part of the question, would there be tear out of happiness? I think this is not related to Patisandhi. When someone feels happy, would there be tear? Would someone cry because of happiness?
Okay, cry, okay.
The first part is
Okay.
Patisandhi Kamaja Rupa, is that caused
Okay.
Maranasana Javana?
Okay, sure. Okay. We can say like a Maranasana Javana. We can also say like a Maranasana Karma, right? Near that moment, Karma. It produces the life, right? We can say only Karma potentiality. Karma fox produce the new life. Yeah, we can understand like that, right? Okay, what about the joy or tear? Sure, it also can happen. Even like sometimes when we have new experiences, you are so happy that tear come out, right? That also can happen. In this case, this is the good thing to do. Okay. Next one.
Yeah,
I cannot hear.
it's a long question. I try to summarize. He said recently he worked together with a group of persons trying to protect some species. He tried to protect some species of animal so that they won't be tortured or hurt by human beings. But he finds that their efforts is very unfruitful, means produce very less effect, inefficient. And even though they have tried their best, they always feel disappointed and even want to give up. But when they think of the disasters faced by all these beings, they did not want to give up. They always think they should put forth efforts in making the cause, and the effect will follow. In this example, first question, how to cultivate or develop the wisdom in order to face with this phenomena. Second, how to see what type of cause will use type of effects. The third part of the question, how to understand the anicca, dukkha, anatta. No. Anatta and the sanda, the peacefulness of the nibbana in this event. The fourth part of question, in this world of human beings who are living together with a common karma, how will be more righteous, will be more.
I can understand, right? Even the first one, not quite clear for me. They are going to save animal, right? But they cannot do well. Some is disappointed, right? This is the first part, right? After that, what is it the main thing I don't understand?
I make it short. They are trying to work together to protect some beings, some animals, I think, from being tortured, hurt by human beings. But they always feel disappointed. That's why they ask these 4 questions: how to increase wisdom, and how to see the cause and effect. Third, how to see this phenomena, these events, anicca, anatta, and how to see the peaceful, means to see the nibbana out of this experience. The fourth, how to live better, more righteously in this common karmic world.
Okay, right? Wisdom. The fact is wisdom. How to improve wisdom, right? In this case, actually, for this kind of protection, your experience will teach you more. Right? If you have long-term experiences, you will become more skillful to protect. For the beginners, it's not that easy. So you must try to see more experienced people to protect. It will be easier, right? It will only for solution to improve faster. This is the one thing, right? Para anicca, dukkha, anatta, or other things should be not that simple. At least you must have knowledge of namarupas first. After that, if you can know namarupas clearly, and you can know anicca, dukkha, anatta, right? This is not that simple as you understood. The last one, how to live right? How to live right for this kind of community. Okay, in this kind of case, as long as you have a compassion, that you have good mind already, the follow-ups, the effectiveness, of course you need skill. I already say, right? Skill. If you have more skill, it will be more effective. So sometimes we cannot have all the living beings. Even the Buddha cannot have all living beings. So as long as you are trying your best, is good enough. Don't depress yourself too much. Don't pressure yourself too much. It will be more easier lifestyle. It will be much better for your future. Okay? Then?
Vandamisiado, if someone downloads picture from the internet, does that break the second precept? If someone records some part of a TV show episode because it inspires them so they want to remember it, and also because they want family and relatives to see part, does it break the second precept? If someone reads comic books from free websites without downloading, does it break the second precept if they don't have any intention to steal? If someone doesn't perceive things mentioned as above as stealing, does that mean he doesn't break the second precept? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Now many parts, right? In the question. So okay, it depends on the copyright. We can say is a breaking precept or not. For example, there's some picture is not allowed to download for free, right? For example, if you want to get free download, it will be a little bit poor solution. If you get better resolution, then it will be pay, right? Pay version. It depends on what kind of picture you download. We can understand it's a breaking result or not. So similarly, like a recording some of the TV show episode, something like that. Okay, one more thing here. In this case, sometimes you just copy or you just record for any, for example, right? Sometimes you just do motivate yourself, as you say here, aspire, right? Inspire something. In this kind of case, we cannot say breaking results. You just for your own use, not for commercial value, right? It's okay. The third one. So for example, the same you also mentioned like just read comic books. Okay, there's some. Okay, I also have read some books. They just give some the first part of the books maybe just for trial, right? You are not allowed to read entire books. So in this kind of case, as long as you are reading as they allow, is okay, right? This is not stealing. Okay, now the last one. Mention about stealing. If someone doesn't receive, right, that they mention about as stealing, doesn't mean you don't break the precepts. Actually, it's not, okay, one more thing, it depends on the conditions, right? So sometimes like he thinks it's the right thing to do, that's why he do it. He doesn't have any intention to break precepts. Okay, in this case, it will be exception. But sometimes he knowingly do it for his own welfare, right? That means for commercial or for business or for earning. In this kind of case, it's breaking precepts. Okay?
Vanami Sado, what is considered Sampapalapa? How do we avoid Sampapalapa as a layperson in our daily life? Is it a bad karma? Can we engage in small talk and ask about people's lives? Or should we only talk about the Dharma and beneficial things? If a family member wants to buy an insect spray to kill insects, and I don't allow it, and that makes my family members sad, is it bad karma for me? Should I feel guilty? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So the first one, right? Actually, Samapalabam, it depends on who are listeners. For example, like in the case of the kid, right? The kid will be very curious, then you must answer wisely. If you don't answer wisely, they will misunderstand in the future, right? So in this kind of case, we cannot say Samapalaba, because according to their level, you have to speak. This is the one thing. If, for example, like I told people, you may talk about the movie or maybe some like a what is literature or something. Okay, it will be exception also. For example, some of the stories, like a motivational story, aspirational story, or something. In this kind of case, it will be exception, right? Okay, the main thing is it must be useful for the listeners. It must be special purpose, right? So in this case, we cannot say Samapalapa. So okay, he also mentioned, can we engage in small talk, ask about people, life? Okay, this is like we can say hospitality or some greeting or something. In this kind of case, it's okay. Even the word I say, how are you, right? We can also say, how are you? Otherwise, we are not very polite. To show our politeness, we can say, how are you? What are you doing, right? This kind of form of conversation, we cannot say Samapalapa. Okay, so second part, you may have another solutions. Another solution, okay, they were buying it's a spray, right? But not to kill insects, then you must guide them how to use. Some like a proper protection you can also use, right? So it depends on how they use. As long as they are not killing, it's okay. Some they are just for protection. In this kind of case, we cannot say it is a bad thing to do. Okay, now in your case, you just have done with great intention. In this case, we cannot say bad karma, right? If you feel sad, sure, that means it's not really good thing to do, right? Okay. The next one.
Vanamisiado, how do we know which of the 22 objects of contemplation should we start to practice for insight development or have to follow all of that in accordance to the order of the objects we learned today? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Mhm. Okay. So in this case, it depends on your ability. For beginners, the Buddha also recommended to start with easier one and a clearer one. For example, if you can know Rupa very clearly, you can start with Rupa. It doesn't mean you have to do all, right? Okay, for example, you are very expert in understanding idol, in the idols, all the material in the idols. Okay, you can start with idols. All the material in the idols. Similarly, in the idols or something like that. So it depends on clearer one and easier one. This is for beginner. But you must try to practice all the method as much as you can. It's just for beginners, okay? Next one.
Vandamisiado. Yeah. The Maranasana karma, the near-death karma, is that the Chetana of the Maranasana Javana?
So actually, we can say the coming fox, right?
我们可以说
Right? Coming fox is called gamma, right? So that means Jirana is called with the force of gamma. It will reinforce, it will force the gamma horizon. So we can also say like a Jirana as a gamma, but we can also say coming force as a gamma. Okay? The next one.
Yes, Vanami said, when I traveled to India and visited the holy places, so I found myself in tears. Similarly, when I see the Sangha, I also tears up. And sometimes I cry when I hear the monk chanting, the Sangha chanting. Is this a sign of mudita? Should I continue to maintain this?
Okay, sometimes because of joy, you can also cry. This will be something, right? But this is not really very good thing to do every time, right? Joy is okay, but if you're crying a lot, it's not really very good thing to do, right? Okay, next one.
Vandamisiado, I want to make sure if someone download pictures from Google Images for personal use and inspiration without making money from it, it doesn't break the second precept. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, sure. As long as you don't have any perception, any intention to steal, that means you don't make any business. In this case, is not breaking precept, sure.
Vandamisiado, if someone practices the 32 parts of the body, can he only focus on the first part, head, hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, and skin? Can he attain jhana just by focusing on that? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so actually, even by focusing only one or the five or so, for example, that focus on the head hair, you can continue by the same. Now, head hair as a repository, right? You can also take the first jhana. Even you do only one thing, it's possible to attain jhana. If you do 32 body parts, you can also take 32 different objects. And each object you can take, right? Okay.
Yes, Vandamisiado, if someone feels leg pain a bit when meditating, should he move his legs if he doesn't want any damage to his legs in the future? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so in this kind of case, you can move. It's okay. Actually, we don't force to sit without changing. When you feel pain or something discomfort, it's allowable to change. Right? If you don't change, sure, it will get serious. Right? It's okay. It's allowable to change. Ita wataja ammehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe bhuta numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya idhamme nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idhamme nyatinam hodu Sukhita hondu nyadayo idhamme nyatinam hodu Sukhita hondu nyadayo idhamme bunyam asawekaya waham hodu idhame bunyam nibbanasa bhajayo hodu mama bunya bhagam sabbasadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam punya bhagam lavandu sadhu sadhu sadhu